and Assalamualaikum, Madam Leah. The movie that we choose to critique today is The Assistant 2020. Before I further explain about what the movie is about, let me just introduce the team members. Firstly, we have DANIA HIDAYAH, then we have FARISSA, HANNA, and last will be me, IZZATI. Well, moving on to the synopsis, right? The Assistant is a 2020 drama film directed by Kitty Green, and the story revolves around Jane, who recently graduated from college and lands a job as an entry-level assistant to a powerful and influential film producer. And as she navigates her daily tasks, Jane becomes increasingly aware of the toxic work environment and the abusive behavior exhibited by her boss. The film then sheds light on issues of workplace harassment, power dynamics, and the complicity of those who turn a blind eye to unethical behavior. Through a subtle and restrained narrative, The Assistant explores the challenges faced by women in the workplace and raises important questions about complicity, accountability, and the systemic issues prevalent in certain industries. Critical Incident 1, where it was deemed as negative scene. Well, what happened in this scene was actually Jane was answering a phone call from her boss's wife, where she was asked of the husband's whereabouts, and as an employee, she had to stay calm and maintain professionalism. So the theory that we can relate to this scene was consideration for professional interaction in handling and resolving conflicts. From what I see, Jane handled the phone call calmly despite being shouted at, which then actually trains her to be calm and collected when handling any kind of conflicts. From the recommendation, I feel like we should not let emotions get in our way, especially when dealing with situations at workplace, to develop our own high level of professionalism. And the wife should have been mindful when speaking with stranger and let her anger out to the right people. For the next scene is scene 2, which also deemed as negative scenes, where Jane was scolded and cursed by her boss for voicing out her concern to the human resources, of which she receives unfair treatment compared to the new hire. So the theory that we can relate in this scene is hierarchical relations, status, and power, where the boss was trying to save his face, concept of the face is saving face. The boss demanded an apology from Jane. She then wrote an apology email with the guidance of her colleagues, which made Jane kind of question her credibility. I feel like Jane should have realized that she was facing discrimination and was being manipulated with the cursive words and rude call she received from her employer instead of simply agreeing. I feel like she should have just spoken out the mistreatment she was getting. Anyway, moving on to the next critical incident 3, which also deemed as negative scene. Well, Jane was writing an apology letter to her employer as he considered her to be at fault. And the theory that we can relate here is hierarchical relation, status, and power. The effect here was the boss' response was rather manipulative. He said he was treating her this way, that way to be great, which made Jane question her credibility and competence. Well, instead of disagreeing with the boss, the colleague guided her to actually write the apology letter. And when disrespected by superior, I feel like it is wise to identify whether it was straight up downgrading or an actual constructive criticism. Jane should have better judgment on this matter and realize that she is far more competent than others ought her to be.
Hi, my name is DANIA HIDAYAH, and now I will be presenting about the incident that happened in Scene 4, 5, and 6. In Scene 4, Jane starts to feel suspicious of the new assistant, and she has the thought that the new girl has a special relationship with her boss. She got this idea because the new girl received different treatment from her boss, and she feels it is unfair because she didn't receive the same treatment even though she has worked there longer. She decided to go to the Human Resource Department and wants to file a complaint about the issue. During the meeting, she expressed what she feels, but at the end of the conversation, the Human Resource Department judged her for being overthinking and paranoid about the situation. Jane wants to fight back, but she has no solid proof. In the end, she decided not to proceed with the report as suggested by the man in the Human Resource Department. The theory used in this scene is interpersonal communication, where Jane is trying to seek clarification from higher up to ensure that she is being treated equally and fairly. In the work field, we need to seek an explanation if any misunderstanding happened to create a good work environment and surrounding. This scene has an impact on Jane's life where she becomes more doubtful about herself and more cautious when she wants to express anything because the human resource man left a significant trauma on her life. In my opinion, I think it would be better if the authorities in every company try to listen to their workers' problem when they express them rather than attempting to make them feel down or scared to confront issue again. Now, let's move on to scene 5. This scene shows incident where Jane feels so down after she gets back from the human resource department. But the moment she stepped into her office, her colleague welcomed her with a good support. You know you can always come to us, right? Are the words that came out from her colleague, and it's really moved up Jane's feeling. She feels surprised because she never thought that her colleague actually cared about her, because before this, they only mind their own business. The happy part lasts only for a minute, and it ends when she receives a call from her boss. Her boss definitely knows what she did, and he is not happy with it. He demands her to write an apology letter if she wants to stay in the company. After the calls end, Jane started to feel down again, but her colleague helped her to draft the apology letter. The theory applied in this scene is the language form and function for informal workplace interaction. This can be seen where Jane admits her fault and apologizes to her boss for her action. Other than that, the small interaction between Jane and her colleague also illustrates a significant aspect of interaction between people who work together in the same workplace and shows their typical behavior. The main effect that I want to highlight in this scene is the bond between Jane and her colleague. In my opinion, Jane is so lucky to have supporting colleague, and this is what we should apply in every workplace to set a good environment of work. Jane feels much more relieved because she knows that she is not alone and her colleague always got her back. For scene 6, we can analyze the incident where Jane's boss acknowledged his fault and he admits that he is being too harsh on her by replying to her apology letter. Her boss expressed regret for his behavior and praised Jane for her good work for the first time. Jane is so surprised and she is in the cloud 9 because she is finally being recognized and appreciated after her hard work. The theory that we can relate to this scene is the language form and function for informal workplace interaction, where the boss lowers his ego and apologizes to his worker. Giving a compliment is part of the theory as well. This small interaction has a big impact and we never know that it can change someone's mood from sad to happy. For this scene, I think it is crucial for the boss to communicate and appreciate their employee, especially when they perform well. Even though it sounds so simple, but it carries a great meaning for them. This practice fosters a sense of value among the workers, leading to increased efficiency and high quality results.
Hi, my name is FARISSA HANNA, and I'll be presenting the last 3 critical incidents, which are number 7, 8, and 9. So, in this critical incident number 7, the incident portrays the use of informal language forms and also function theory, which particularly focus on engaging in small talk. So, why is this scene crucial? Well, in this scene, in this whole movie, Jane is actually not much of a talker. She is a relatively quiet and also a reserved individual, and she doesn't engage in extensive conversation, or her interactions with others are often brief and to the point. So in this incident, Jane actually arrives early at the office, and despite being one of the few female employees in the office and not particularly talkative, she initiates a conversation with her male co-worker. And from this scene, Jane takes the lead by inquiring about her co-worker's weekend. So this small gesture actually opens the door to a brief but meaningful interaction, because after a few moments in the scene, the male co-worker itself actually feels much more comfortable enough to politely ask for help from her, and this shows how a simple act of small talk can pave the way for effective collaboration throughout their work life. So this incident underlines the importance of these small moments in shaping the work environment.
So in conclusion of this scene, the power of small talk in the workplace actually should not be underestimated. It's simple yet effective tool for fostering connections or building relationship and creating a positive work environment where employees maybe encourage themselves to keep up with friendly chats, or maybe you can ask different questions or sharing personal stories. So these interactions set a productive and positive tone for the day. Moving on to critical incident number 8. Imagine a situation where tension escalates in the office due to personal issue. Well, that actually happens to Jane. In this movie, she found herself in the situation where she has to explain to her boss wife about his boss whereabouts during a phone call, and unfortunately, instead of being understanding, her boss responded with anger, throwing harsh words directly at her. And this incident occurred right at the office, reflecting a moment of unprofessional behavior that we need to address. So what's crucial to note is the imbalance of power in this scenario, because despite the issue being personal, Jane, as the new assistant, had to face the brunt of her boss' frustration, which this is not supposed to happen. And this brings us to our main point today, which is consideration for professional interaction theory, because no matter the circumstances, maintaining a professional standard of conduct is crucial for a healthy workplace. And in this situation, I would recommend few things, which is firstly, maybe Jane itself could, or anyone else here, should consider seeking clarification privately with her boss to address the misunderstanding, because seeking resolution privately has its advantages, and it not only maintains a professional standard of conduct, but it's also uphold respect in workplace. So in critical incident number 9, Jane faces an unexpected transportation challenge where both drivers she contacts, Joan and Javier, encounters personal issues that prevent them from fulfilling their duties as driver. So now let's explore how the theory, language, form and function for formal workplace interaction, which is handling and resolving conflicts, comes into play. So in this incident, Jane needs to collaborate effectively with the drivers to solve the transportation issues, because we need someone to pick up her boss, right? So luckily in this situation, despite the challenges, Javier offers solution by asking his brother to replace his presence as a driver. So this willingness to assist despite personal challenges shows empathy and foster positive relationship in workplace, which is why this scene is very crucial to know. And by negotiating and seeking alternative, Jane actually shows politeness and professionalism by acknowledging the unforeseen circumstances faced by JV and John. So further applying our theories, we observe how negotiation and seeking alternative becomes a key component in addressing unexpected conflict effectively. So maybe let us consider this scenario as a lesson. We should encourage a collaborative environment in workplace where employees can support each other during challenging situations, just like Javier, who offered solution involving his brother, indicating that a collaboration and support among colleagues can be very helpful to resolve unexpected issues effectively. So to sum it up, the movie is really portraying the mistreatment of the people within the workplace who treats others pretty badly, and that includes Jane or probably other women employees who get stuck dealing with it all. But even in this tough situation, Jane actually teaches us on how important it is to stay cool, act professional, and talk things out. And the big message here in this movie is that no matter who you are at work, treating each other with respect is super important. And Jane's story reminds us that being nice and professional, no matter the circumstances, can make a big differences. So let's remember Jane's example and try to bring some good vibes to our workplace, because being respectful and understanding towards everyone, no matter their position, is always the way to go. And that is how we build a better, more friendly work environment for everyone. So I guess that is the end of our video presentation. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.